cut apart stone to create their building pieces using hammer tools made of stone like granite and olivine basalt, bronze, and copper. They were typically looking to split the stones along the natural fracture lines. For fine details, they used bronze chisels or harder stones. The Inca used obsidian weapons in metal or even sometimes stone weapons. They had bows and arrows, axes, shields, swords, and hammers. The Incas used quipus to keep their numerical records. Quipu was made of horizontal cord with a series of strings suspended from it. Quipus were used for census, taxation, and other administrative and commercial purposes. Quipus included many variables using colors, not placement, and not type as very important indicators of various things. The Incas spoke Quechua. Quechua was a language of the Inca Empire which was destroyed by the Spanish in the 16th century.
The Inca men wore a sleeveless tunic or garment in the warmer weather. The women wore a one-piece dress that reached their ankles and was tied at the waist. Both men and women wore their capes or ponchos to keep them warm during the winter. The clothing of the rich was made from finer cloth and was more decorated with color and jewels. The shoes they wore were made from llama hide. The men wore their hair by cutting it short in the front and longer in the back. However, the women could not cut their hair. They parted it down the middle and wore it down in the back. Inca used different types of paint on their face and body. During war, they used war paint. On each special occasion, they used face paintings. They used black paint when they were depressed or in a really hard time. On ceremonies and other occasions, they used red and purple colors.
The Inca Indians mainly ate potatoes and corn. They also ate guinea pigs for their daily protein because they didn't have pigs, cows, sheep, or turkeys. Sometimes they ate llamas or alpaca. The Incas had two main meals a day, one early morning and another in the late evening, both taken while seated on the floor without a table. Camelid, duck, guinea pig, and wild game such as deer and vizcacha rodent was only eaten for special occasions. Along with the meat, they also had wild berries. The wild fruits included sour cherries, custard apples, elderberries, cactus fruits, pineapples, and bananas. The food was prepared on fires of wood or llama dung. They used a stone or clay stove so that most of the food was either boiled or roasted. Potatoes were another important food. These could be stored by drying or freeze-drying in the form of chuno. The grains were prepared by pounding them between stones, and additional flavors were made by adding herbs and spices, especially chili peppers. The Inca Indians would drink llama milk and water. The most popular drink was a mildly alcoholic chicha, which is like a beer-like drink, which women prepared by chewing maize or other plants and then allowing the pulp to ferment for several days.
The Incas played tlachtli. It was a combination of soccer and basketball, except the players couldn't use their hands. The object of tlachtli is to put a ball through the hoop and make a stone at the end of the court. The first team to score wins. The 5-pound ball they used would often cause many injuries. Players would go home with serious injuries. The loser of the game would get their head cut off. The players were prisoners of war, and it was a ritual honoring the god of war.
The Inca Empire was the largest that South America had ever known. Rich in foodstuffs, textiles, gold, and cocoa, the Incas were masters of city building, but nevertheless had no money. In fact, they had no marketplaces at all.
The Incas believed in the god Viracha created the earth, stars, and all living things. They believed that he created the moon and sun by plucking them from an island in Lake Titicaca. Inti, known as the god of the sun, was another important god. The next god of importance was Alapa. He was the god of rain, thunder, lightning, and war. Mamakia was the god of the moon. The Carinja temple complex contained 6 buildings, which were for the worship of 6 main gods. The Incas also worshipped their gods in spiritual places called hukas. Hukas could be caves, springs, weirdly shaped rocks, or man-made shrines.